So again, this is Nome, and this is the new track, Future, I'm working on. It's an epic trap track. Usually always start off like most people with drums. I spend a lot of time here with the drums. Once I get a good rhythm going, I start layering drums, layering kicks, snares, just to find the right body, hits, punch, nice feel for it. For this one, we just started here. Very simple, adding rhythm sections. Just took some good time to find, because after 8 bars, 16 bars, things change up, continue to go on. Start adding hi-hats. That's basically the first verse. Second verse remains pretty much the same. As far as the drum sections, elements don't change. They stay pretty much the same. Once I had that done, I try to look for something with a bass in it. So, for this track, I went more with a very mid-distorted bass with a sub-level bass under it to complement it, and had it sidechained to give it a pump feel with the drums. So it basically sounds like this together. And that little wah you hear, it's basically me grabbing a filter and automating it. So that's how you get that little wave in the bass, which comes in right about here. That right there. So just add some flavor to it. So once I have that going, I basically test them out together. See, to make sure that we're doing good. So obviously we test them out together. So I was very content with my drums, my bass sounding good. Really like the wood inside my bass. Gives it a nice, good hip-hop feel. Once we started doing that, then we started working with sweeps, adding sweeps and little effects. Sweeps and effects with some vocal stabs to add to it. Splashes. I have 808 in there with some other elements because I needed more. I wanted some mid-range. 808s usually have more low end, so I use mid-range mixed with mid-range kicks and instruments with 808 kit.
Classic cymbals.
And classic cymbals, anything that sounds very authentic to the 808 genre. The 808 sound. So there go my little vocal samples, things like that. Then once we start moving towards the end of this section is when I started adding more of the sweeps. As we build our way out of it. Drum rolls. So that's how we get out of that. Then I started adding some more synths and things under it to layer in. Some fab filter here to give it the full round feel, and this is what we basically have at the end. My little stabby lead. I went with a more epic, trancey sound for the in between the trap parts to give it a more epic auditorium feel. So we added a lot of synths, a lot of washy synths with white noise, things like that, and a nice background of a crowd to give it that atmospheric feel of being in a stadium with claps and chanting and cheers as it builds up into the second verse. This section's quite long, so I'll just go ahead and skip through a little. Here's where we started adding the crowd as we prepare for the second verse. And that's how we built the epic build. On the second verse, we added just one extra element, really, which is a very stabby synth, which is right about here. Just gotta locate it. I can think it's here. That's the only element that we added to the second verse. I say we, me. The Nome.
Do you do presets? Do you tweak presets? Do you just come up with your own?
No, I build them. I build my synths by just twisting knobs until I find sounds that I like. Envelopes,
Starting from the
filters.
default.
Yeah, cutoffs, messing with cutoffs, filters, velocities and things. Anything that I can do to just change it, because I usually know what sound I'm looking for. I just gotta create it, and then adding effects to that sound to give it even more of a feel that I want, like delays, reverbs, and things like that. The way you hear a beat, at least when I work, is you won't. The first time you hear me building it, it will sound completely different by the end of the actual production. Just because I went through so many different versions of it until I found the right one, which I do back up all those versions, just so I can always reference back to them if I need to for any reason. But presets usually look through an instrument the way I do it. Once I hear a sound I like, I start tweaking the hell out of that sound. Certain instruments you can start from scratch and twist. Sometimes I do that and just turn knobs all the time, and that's basically the end of that song. I do group channel bus things and group them. My drums usually have their own group, so in this situation here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 group channels in this one. One being for my drums. I do have a trick sometimes, depending on what effects I'm using. I'll have 2 separate group channels for my drums. Some people don't do this, some people do. One's mono, one's stereo, just for certain spectrum fields that I'm working on. I sometimes group my synths, depending if I need them all to share something. And which I did in this situation. I did a lot of work on claps with this one to get very big claps. So I grouped those so I can use like a certain compressor, I believe. I think I used a CLA 3A or 2A for my claps, and for my vocal samples. I grouped them in this situation.
Do you keep in MIDI or do you export to WAV, throw more effects, chop it?
I do export to WAV for the chopping reasons and for other reasons, like using sweeps. And basically, I sample myself. Yes, I actually did it here. I believe it's this one here. That was something I created as a MIDI. Then I exported it, brought it back in as a wave, just so I can use it for a little bit as a nice little build sweep, really. But yeah, even with my drums, I sample my own drums. I'll take like a simple loop, more like maybe hi-hats or something, and I'll chop them up in the way that I like, similar to in hip-hop. When I used to produce on MPCs, I would chop up rhythm, sample loops, put them and rearrange them the way I like. That's usually the only way I really handle the loops. Once in a blue, if I need it, if I'm really in a rush, I'll find a nice little loop section that I just need for a back filler for rhythm, and that's it. But that's once in a blue. Usually for my bass, I tend to mess around with Trillion a lot. I use Trillion a lot for my bass. If I'm going to go with... There's a good one, Saurus, that's really good. I'm really enjoying that one right now. I use that a lot in here. Gladiator's good. I like Gladiators a lot. The arpeggiators are really nice in Gladiator. Omnisphere always for fills, ambient feels. And yeah, that's about it. When it comes to getting the sound you want, usually, with distortion, you could add distortion to synths and things like that, flange, to get the sound you really want. So I do that a lot. Oh, only waves. Strictly waves. I'm a strictly waves guys.
I throw R bass on all 808s.
Yeah, it helps.
Really lose that little.
Yeah. Yeah, I use R bass a lot. But I'm all about waves. I love the compressors. I'm big on automation. This track has a lot of automation. I don't know if you can see it if I show it to you, but if I show all the automation, show all these automation. I can't even fit it on the screen, but it's a lot of automation going on here. There's lines everywhere. If I scroll down, but really big on automation. If I think good producers do a lot of automation. That's how you create a lot of great sounds and a feel and emotions when it comes to producing. But I have pretty much on half of them, or if not all of them, some good automation going on. So this is Nome. I'm here at Trifecta Studios, my home, my business, with Bass Hog, and we just went over a new track that I produced called Future, which is Epic Trap. That's what I call it, Epic Trap. You can catch a clip of it on my SoundCloud, which you will see the link on the blog for Bass Hog. And yeah, that's basically it. Good luck to everyone out there. Thank you, Bass Hog, again. And hope to hear back from some people.